of a designer. Before I hand over the floor to Ms. Kanaka Anand, I would just like to give a brief intro about today's speaker. Dr. Kanaka Anand is the Director, Maniam's Marketing Services Private Limited. She is a BArch from TCE Madurai and is also first bachelor of the PG in Industrial Design, specializing in toy and game design from National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad. Ms. Kanakanand has over 18 years of experience in diverse areas. There are few of her achievements. She has mentored more than 500 students as educator. She has been on the board of advisors of Child Magazine, Educational Aids Private Limited, Delhi, Fun School India Limited, Chennai, etc. She has numerous design patents for toys and games to her credit, such as Crazy Kolam, Rangoli, one among 40 women shortlisted across India for Google DigiPi Award 2021 with ISB. She has conducted many corporate training programs on design thinking for entrepreneurs, schools, colleges, and industries pan-India. Inspired from Indian culture and elements, she launched her own brand of toys, Maniam's Toys. Her brand went on to win the All India Toycathon in 2021. It was also selected in the toy segment of Amazon Launchpad. So with this brief introduction, now I would request Ms. Kanaka Anand to please take over the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. I would like to thank CMA for giving me this opportunity to share my journey with all of you. So I'm basically going to tell you a story, my life story, which I think connects to my whole journey. So if you see, can you see my screen? All of you?
Yeah, it's visible, madam. Yeah. Perfect, madam.
Okay. Just, yeah. So if you see, my mantra to life is like a roller coaster. It has its ups and downs. It's a one wild ride, but worth every second. That's what is my mantra to life. And if you see, my journey started like where I was very fascinated with 2D shapes. So when my father was building a house, I was very fascinated how 2D lines like rectangles and squares actually transform into 3D spaces, which we call home, hospital, educational institution. So that led me to pursue my architecture. And then when I did architecture, I was very fascinated by how people interact with objects. So when I was designing an apartment complex, I was worried about the clothes people hang in the balcony. Or when I was designing a car showroom, I would question why a car, which is such a dynamic product, is kept in such a static building. So can the building actually visually look like an arch so that the car looks like it's coming out of it? Or when I was designing an apartment space, I would question why, we don't have a sit out. We enter a bungalow through a sit out, an individual house. So why not have an apartment where you actually enter through a sit out? So these are the kind of questions that always were in my mind. And that led me to another turning point in my life where I decided to pursue from an architect to becoming a designer. This led me to National Institute of Design, which is the most premier design institute in India, in Ahmedabad. And that's when they started the toy design discipline. And I found toy design very interesting because it's like you are, letting somebody have fun, letting go of their stress, tension, and there's so much of user happiness there. So these were some of the first set of products that I developed as a student toy designer. So on the left, you can see I took inspiration from objects children use in their daily lives, like the zip which they have in their bag or the Velcro in their shoe, and then made this whole P family. So you have mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, and you have them all packaged like a P. And they open, and then when you open, you find a worm there, and these worms you can actually interlock them. And so this was very close to my heart, being the first toy I developed. Then on the top, you can see I was very interested in seeing how we can actually do play therapy. So how can we let go of somebody's pain through play? So I studied how people have fractures in their fingers, and in physiotherapy, you actually need to move your do certain exercises. So I studied these exercises and made this game inspired from step well. If you see in many parts of India and Rajasthan, Gujarat, you have a step well. So you step down and there's a well there. So I took inspiration from there. So you actually move your finger in the steps, and then you have cards where you have to lift the weight in different combinations. And so the exercise happens through a game which two patients can play, or a doctor and the patient could play. Then the other product I did was the first time I worked with the industry as a student. Was this company was telling me that they manufacture globes, but nobody was really buying it. So I wanted to see how can I help them, sell their product. So I studied the globe, the industry, and then I realized how can we bring it as a game. So I developed the whole base of the globe itself like a game. So children actually, or a family, can play and look for answers with a timer, and you have questions about the capitals and different. So this really increased the sales of the company. So as a student designer, I learned about design process. I learned about user iteration, how thinking out of the box, or how feedback plays a very important role when you develop a product. Then I moved on to working in the toy industry, being the first toy designers at that time. We were the first batch in India. So I worked with companies like Fun School, Creatives, where I went on to develop a lot of products, more than 10, 15 games for these companies. So if you see the one on the left is actually where you have red and black ant, them fighting, trying to take over the whole ant hill. Then this is Fast Track, which is even now it's sold in the market by the company, where actually you go on a race track and you have to spell the words. So I found in my research how children love racing cars. So if you answer the spelling correctly, you move forward. So children get to learn more than 500 different words through play. Then on the right, you can see Amazing Me, which was developed, where I found that there were not much interaction happening within family members. So I wanted to bring an interaction between children and their parents, like have questions about ethical values. So like if somebody asks you to copy the exam in the school, what should I do? If there is a fire at home, if mom and dad are fighting, what do I do in that situation? So these kind of questions I studied and developed that game. So when I worked in the industry, I learned about market, I learned about costing, finance, and how competitors work in the industry. Then the next turning point came where I decided to take a role of being a mentor. And that's when for more than 15 years of my life, I spent on teaching design to students, and worked on numerous projects with the students, like from developing sanitary ware to furniture to bag accessories to products. And through this journey, the beautiful thing about design teaching is that you actually go on a journey with your student. Through their research, you go through their journey to see how the concepts could work, and then go into developing the product. So as a faculty, I actually got to know about thought processes which different students go through. And we had a lot of craft documentation, so I was able to network with artisans. I understood about IPR, and I got this huge network of so many students whom I taught past so many years. Then suddenly, I think there was a turning point in my life where I lost my only sibling, my brother, who was an extraordinary person. And, he has done startups, and he always said, there are no extraordinary people. And when ordinary people are faced with, circumstances, they are capable of doing amazing things. That always lingered in my mind when he passed away. And that brought a different perspective in me. I started questioning myself. What am I? What is my identity? Why have I come here? What am I giving back to the society as an individual? And there was always this thought that I had in my mind, that if you look at the toy industry, everybody was just copying. Like if you see Jenga is there, somebody makes it in color, somebody changes the word J to Z and sells it as Jenga, or somebody adds numbers. And if you take the artisans, the poor artisans are replicating the plastic toy in wood and selling it, or they're making idols which they know to make since centuries, and they're selling. So I found this huge potential in India, where we have this amazing artisans, and they really don't have much work because there's nobody to help them or intervene in what they're doing. This led to me, because I'm a toy designer, I did a huge research where I studied the market. I sent in a lot of questionnaires to people of users, and I found there's this big void in the market where you don't have products which are inspired from Indian culture. And most of the products are more analytical minded. There is no products which are actually the right brain, which is very crucial in creative thinking, where it's about art, music, dance, craft, all these are like design, all these are, part of the right thing. So I wanted to bring products that actually help enhance the creativity in children. So that was the goal of what I set my brand to be. So it was inspired from Indian cultural elements. I wanted it to be completely handmade, be a vocal for local product, and it should be completely sustainable brand, where I wanted the packaging, everything to be sustainable, and I wanted it to become part of Indian homes. So this connected my dot as a, being a faculty, being a designer, and then, now as an entrepreneur. So I started my journey with this. So the first product I developed with, was basically, I wanted to develop puzzles for children. So I studied, being a designer, we know how we go about the design process. So we studied children, how puzzles help them, visual memory. And then I studied column, its history, its, the motives that we use. Then I simplified these column motives and then started making mock-ups, because in design, we actually start with prototypes, which we test with our user. Then my team and me, we made a lot of different variations of graphics. We tested it with children. So then below you can see, the first prototype, we found that on the top that, children had precision fine motor issues. So we refined our design so that it works, perfectly, and when they place it together. And that led to our product. And like I told you, I think the unboxing experience of the product is the most crucial thing. It's like the first impression that you create to a user. So when I went on Amazon and all these e-commerce sites in my research, I found how users were complaining about how the product came in damaged, or they felt, it was visually not appealing. So I wanted also to help artisans, because I found that, when you take a packaging box, we just throw it away. We are not doing anything with it. So I wanted to do something there with the design of the packaging so that it helps the livelihood of somebody. So I wanted, and also to have a nostalgia with the product in terms of its packaging. So all my products are, come in bamboo baskets, and I've developed the packaging so that, it becomes a USP of the brand. I couriered the packaging across India, and saw what happens to it, in the transit. Does it get damaged? So that amount of extensive research I did, then fixed my packaging. So this is my final product, Crazy Column, where you can make endless number of motifs, column motifs, with this pieces. Then like I didn't stop there. Then we looked at how can we take column itself as an element and teach alphabets to children. So we studied alphabets and developed a whole range of alphabet series where children actually learn to play with the pattern, then slowly understand form, and then connect it to alphabets. So these are some photos of my users, who have, parents send us back photographs of their children using our product. And the first product that we developed from Maniam's itself won the Toyketan award. And in the company level, and we also got it in the out of the box creative and logical thinking category among so many other entries across India. And the next product that we developed was, like in South India, we have Kolam North. It's more of Rangoli, which is a very rotational symmetry. Like Kolam is symmetrical, and here it's rotational. So we studied motives of Rangoli patterns and came down to a set where you can make endless number of Rangoli patterns. And we tested puzzles also with elderly, because actually patients with Alzheimer, dementia, if they actually play with puzzles, it helps in their brain development, because the neurons get connected. So this is how the whole product comes, the whole Rangoli puzzle. And I would like to show, this is the first very touching video. One son bought Rangolio for his father, who was a dementia patient, who was in depression. And when his father got these pieces, he actually started making a new pattern every day, and he was so much happy, and he was looking forward to making something with it. So I'll just show you a video. So if you see, he's like a child. The son is prompting him, you forgot these pieces, you have to keep it. And now you can see the same product, a 3-year-old playing with it. I just want to show you how toys or puzzles, how there is no age. There's no barrier of age. This is a customer in UK who sent us this video. So the next product, I was very fascinated by our ancestors and their storytelling techniques. If you see and go and check out some of the caves, they have done this amazing rock arts. And the irony is that we, in our generation now, we are also doing storytelling through the icons, WhatsApp icons, and icons that we use in our daily lives. So there was this beautiful connection. So we studied the rock art form, broke it down to the basic shapes, and made a complete series, and if you see all our products, we have an Indian name, which we have given to our product. So this is called Akar. And if you see, it actually works as a storytelling tool. So you can make endless stories with it about Diwali, about your father taking you on a ride, or, about Raksha Bandhan, or Ram, or anything like that. And it has we tested it with children, and we also, a therapist told us how beautiful this product is for even to find out the inner emotions or depressions that children are going through, asking them to make a story and asking them why they have done that through the character. And this you can see, again, all these videos are just sent to us by customer, and you can see the creativity in children. So this boy is playing with our Akar puzzle. So he says that this is a footballer, and that's the goal. And he actually uses the ball, and he's hitting the goal. So we didn't tell him to use it this way, but it's so beautiful to see how. This is another girl in Kerala. So she made, we gave a booklet. So she made a palace, and she made a prince and princess on top of the palace. Looking, she says that they are looking at the garden from the top floor of the palace. This is another beautiful image sent by a mother who just had a baby. So the boy made this. We never gave the drawing of the cradle and the baby. So he made like mom, dad, me, and my baby brother. This is another child in North Guwahati. So she made the kite flying, and a child playing a kite with it. So the beauty about Akar is it's open-ended. Then my answer to the dexterity or stacking game was I studied the with my team the Indian architecture. If you see, they have this amazing jali patterns, and you have artisans who actually are very good with this intricate woodwork in India of cutting out. And I found that a puzzle can have a negative positive element. We always look at a puzzle as just a flat element. So that led me to develop Trikona. So it's a stacking game where you actually have these negative cutouts like the jali we see, and you actually stack them, and you have cards where you actually have to match, pick the right pieces and find your pattern before the tower falls down. So that's Trikona. And this is another beautiful way a child plays dominoes with our Trikona puzzle, which a mother sent us.
Yeah, but closer. This side.
So the next product, which is very close to my heart, was I lived a few years in Germany, and always I was questioned about our Indian culture, and I think that question is still there now also. Like children ask, why do we wear bangles? Why do we break a coconut? Why do we wear kumkum? Why do we celebrate Onam, Diwali, and so many festivals, Holi, and all that? We tie mango leaves in our homes or when we start anything. So there are so many interesting symbols, gods and goddesses, festivals that we have. So I studied all these things and made 300 riddles. And we developed this game called Paheli, where you actually go on a journey looking for Sita. It's based on Ramayana and it has moral values of Ramayana in it. And you actually have this 10 Ravana's head, which blocks your path. So it's a tile-based game. So every time you play, a new path is formed and you need to answer these riddles and you get to know our Indian culture through this game. Then the next product we developed was Karagatam and Chari, and all these are beautiful dance forms where, in India, we actually balance pots. And you go to any rural India, you have women walking for miles with balancing the pot. So this was a very interesting story that was there in my mind. So we studied different objects children hold, you have crayons, you have scissor, fevistick. So based on the forms of that, we developed a stacking toy. This is a process of how we did the rendering, the character development. And here we have artisans who hand painted it, made it. And so the beauty about Tula is that it stacks like you would stack how you would carry a pot. So it has a ring on the head and then you balance everything. And it is again, the USP about our products is open-ended. It lets the kid build, different ways. So this is the video of different ways at her. The next product we developed was embroidery. Like the beauty about India is the Kutch embroidery, handmade embroidery. So we studied the embroidery patterns and developed puzzle pieces with the mirror work. So you actually feel like the mirror work when you place these puzzles, and actually it looks like an embroidery pattern. Then I was walking down one day and I found how the leaves actually roll. There's a beauty in the way leaves actually roll when there is a wind. And crawling is a very important component in a child's development. Actually, when a child is crawling, babies crawl, the left and right brain start balancing. And it's a very important milestone. So if you see on the left, you can see how looking at different leaves, studying different forms, and then then we came down to this product called Goom, which actually helps children to crawl. It's very popular with our customers. So here one customer sent us their baby crawling with our product. And then we studied Indian lamps, like our velak, if you see, it has so many different manifestations across in India. And we wanted to make a stacking toy. And there's this beauty about lamp, right, where you have the shadow and the light. And so we developed Stira. So it actually stacks and you form different types of lamps, like Mughal style, our Hindu style. And you have these booklet where it has a negative, like the shadow and the color. So the children have to, visualize the form and then stack it. And again, here we got a lot of feedback from children who have fine motor issues, because you need to really balance this perfectly, and it is really helping them in their coordination. Then this is a recent product which we launched just last week, where we studied, actually, if you see, India has this rasa theory, or Navarasa we call it, which talks about the emotions we have in humans. And if you see, we are in a world of expressions, and there's so much of interesting forms we have in terms of our face and expression, like the emojis which we have. So we studied this and came down to a basic kit, where we actually wanted children to understand emotions, so parents could use this use this product when they are reading a story, asking the kid to ask, tell what is the emotion the character is feeling. So this is also very good with autistic children, because it helps them emote. It can be used for drama, where you actually make a face and ask the child to enact that expression. So this is how, the initial doodle, then how we went to the basic shape, we tested it with children, and we found how, they were connected to WhatsApp icons. So we added like a heart form, and that's how this whole set. So you can make like loads of emotions, faces with it. So if you see, our marketing campaigns are all very Indian, the way we actually do in terms of our social media. And you can see all our users, like that was Akar, where Happy Onam, a child made that and they made an invite with it. Here in Bombay and Pune, somebody used our Rangoli patterns for their Ganesh Chaturthi. Here, if you see on the left end, you had a kid who was just going to school and wanted to excitedly make the puzzle. So these are all different images that customers shared with us. And if you see now, even now, like we have had some kindergarten schools who love our products, so they have purchased it. And here you have a Waldorf school, which is asking the child to actually draw the pattern, so they're to understand the column motif. Here you have a kindergarten in Tirunelveli who bought it, and they said this alphabet series is really useful, because the children is able to visualize the form. Then this is a recent image which we got from Bombay, of a boy who's just 3-year-old, who's balanced the tula. They were very astonished, his sense of patience. These are some images from Jaipur kindergarten school at the bottom. So brand, all these schools have started realizing how, a product related to Indian culture would be really good. And this is on the left, you can see an image sent by a customer of grandma and granddaughter having arguments, the grandma telling this will not balance, and the granddaughter. So it's bringing this connection between generation. Here you have a customer who told us that the child was not ready to have his dinner. He wanted to try all the patterns before he had food. On the top right, from California, they had kept Golu, and the girl actually made the puzzle in front of it and they shared it. Here we got a written note from a boy and a girl saying, he felt I was Ram going in search of Sita, and I was fighting Ravan in the game Paheli. And I say that a picture says 1,000 words. And this pursuit that I've had, looking for that identity, that happiness, you can see here in these images that our customers have shared with us. And this was like image said just recently, how column lovers have taken our product, made column around it. Here on the top, you have a grandmother and a grandson playing with a column. Like people have this notion, no, that column is only for girls, women, but no, I mean, we have made the puzzle in such a way that it's a gender neutral product. And it has become a bonding generation away from screen time. So the key takeaway as an entrepreneur I learned in this journey, especially being a non-management person because I'm a designer, I basically feel that most crucial part in starting a venture is finding that right void or a problem or a need in the market in terms of a service or a product that you develop. That's the key thing. And secondly, I think user centric, which we designers are very good at, is the approach that we need to do when we do anything. And we need to start questioning what how does a user feel, what does he say, what does he think, what does he hear. I mean, all that. Like, even if you're developing this, I always say, when you're developing a switchboard, your user is not only the person who's using the switch, right, in the house. Even the electrician who's fixing so many switchboards daily is a user. How do you make the switchboard so beautifully designed so that it's easy even for him to fix? So that user centric approach is very much necessary in developing anything as an entrepreneur. And I think having the right team with good dynamics with a varied strength is important. So I think you should select your team very wisely, because I've realized many startups fail due to the difference between the founders or team members. I'm very lucky that my team are my own students who have taught, who support me in terms of working with me. So I know their strengths and weaknesses, and we really have this beautiful bond. So I'm thankful that I was a mentor or faculty for so many years that really helped me as an entrepreneur. And I think we need to plan way ahead in terms of understanding our paperwork, trademarks, market, finances when we develop anything. So that, if many people, they'll decide that I want to go onto Amazon, then they'll realize that when the paperwork you need, your trademark registration, you need GST, there are so many things. So knowing all that ahead before you even launch something is very crucial in seeing that, you're on time in onboarding anyway. And I think always having a plan B in place is always important when plan A fails. Like I have like as a designer, we always are trained to always think. It's like we are like trained to be like in a maze, like a maze in a mouse. Mouse is in a maze, and you are actually going through. If you get stuck here, we look for an alternate. So we already think of that. Like I can give example of Tata when they launched the pickup, a small truck for small lanes. They already designed the chassis in such a way that it can also become a closed auto kind of a product. So as designers, we are trained to actually keep in mind ahead, okay, this can be done with the same thing. Like if you see Tricona, we sell it as a dexterity game, but we reduce the number of pieces and sell it as a puzzle as well. So we have this dual product with the same design what we have done. So we always look for these combinations so that we have a backup in what we do. Then I think each one has their strengths, and we should not try to do everything by ourselves. So delegate it to the right team member and trust them for their capabilities. Like, so I'm not like not good with finance or stuff like that. So my husband is a co-partner with me, so he handles that, and I trust him for his capabilities. So I think that trust or sense of having that belief in your team is very important. Then I think patience, not losing hope. I think things don't happen overnight. It's a journey that takes time. One needs to build it brick by brick. Having a good foundation in place is the most important part of a startup, and that's when any storm comes, it can face it. I think many people are in a hurry nowadays. Want overnight, they want to become, like reels becomes overnight sensation. People are in a hurry. Like, so I think you need to be patient to build that a sense of customer satisfaction, build a sense of trust that your customer gains on you as a brand. Then it will remain intact for many years to come. Then I think failures are a stepping stone to success. We always have learned that. And I think you should learn from your failures and don't be scared to make mistakes. The more mistake you make, the more successful you'll become. And I think the greatest example I always look up to is Edison and Dyson, like who always, did so much in terms of, the failures, and then they became successful. And I think family and friends is very, very crucial in your startup. Many times we hide our failures. We don't tell what's happening, our losses. If you see many startup founders have, gone into depression. They have suicided because they don't confront what's happening around you to your members, because you always want to look successful maybe. So I always share what's happening. This is not working out. This is, so I think, and they are the ones who give you the criticism. They're the greatest critics, and they're there through your ups and downs, whether my family and my closest friend circle. So I think keeping all people in your loop will help you in your bad times as well. And this is something I always, like I told you, Edison said, I haven't failed, I have just found 10,000 ways that something doesn't work. That's the amount of patience you should have. And if you take, like I was telling, Dyson, who made the vacuum cleaner and now the bladeless fan, he said 5,126 attempts he had to make that bagless vacuum cleaner. And that disappointment, defects, it took him 15 years to make that. But that is painful, but it actually makes you better, it makes you improve, and you become much stronger in what you are developing. And I think this is very crucial, is storytelling. I mean, which we many times forget. As designers or a creative person, our biggest creative specialty is a storytelling. If you look at all my products, I have a story, I have an origin story to it. I have, my product is the hero in my story. There is a journey in my story. It has a personality, it has a purpose and value. So it's much easier to sell or market my product because I have this strong foundation in research and the storytelling or the development, which many people or my competitor don't have, because they just randomly pick something and develop it or see somewhere, but then that storytelling is not there. So that is our USP. And I would like to end saying that we have to be a child, be curious. We should be ready to grasp. We should learn, ask questions, why, what, how, when. Like if I get stuck, I'm not worried of asking why. I mean, I go and ask my competitor, like if they are participating in a fair, I would ask them directly, was it worthwhile? So I think somewhere we have this feeling that, oh, they are a competitor, we should not ask them. So I think we are all there to help each other out and support each other. So I always, like a curious child, I always ask and find out and when. And I would like to end my talk with this tagline, like a mantra: happiness is not something you postpone for the future, it's something you design for the present. So I tell all of you that if you have an idea, I mean, do it. I mean, you're going to fail maybe, but you will learn something from that failure. There's nothing wrong. And so I think you should not postpone what you want to do. Just try it out. And you're at this time, in a beautiful time where you have that opportunity, where you can directly connect with customers so easily with all the social media. And you'll really know whether, what you're doing will work or not. So that's Studio Maniam's for you. We are a studio and we have a brand of toys. So we do projects and we do a lot of training programs on design thinking, and our products are there in all these social e-commerce portals. And that's our WhatsApp number. So you can check out our catalog directly. And you can also check us on Instagram at studiomaniams.com. Thank you.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am. Indeed, it was a very crisp and very insightful presentation. Thank you for that. Participants, if you have any questions, you can please unmute yourself and ask, or you can put it in chat. I'll be able to deliver it to madam. Okay, before someone asks, madam, ma'am, generally when it comes to toys, how is generally the psychology of the parents when they are they willing to spend more money on toys in terms of quality, or in terms of buying more number of toys instead of spending 100 rupees for one toy, or they're ready to spend 100 rupees to buy 5 toys?
See, I think the market is changing. I mean, there are both the markets. You have lower market which sells 500, that range products also, and you have products that are more premium. So our segment is premium segment, and now with both parents, husband and wife working, and they have become very conscious about the quality of product their child should play with. You have parents spending a lot of money on their education, like if you see Montessori, Waldorf schools, or you take any of the international school, Cambridge syllabus, IB syllabus. So that is that segment of a market who is looking for that kind of a product. And they've become more conscious about what the child plays with and creative development. So we have that customer base who are ready or willing to buy from us.
Okay, fine. Ma'am, generally when we in the management, no, there are basically two types. No, one is your rural marketing, and another one is your normal marketing. So similarly, in toys, is there any products or any strategies exclusively for rural places when it comes to toys?
Like marketing and like you see that most of it is like if you see retail, it is like if you go directly, it's purchase on the spot. And now with online, and we are focusing on, if you see, a lot of influencer marketing. Because that has become a core, like any from the smallest town to the cities, they are very much part of this Instagram story. So we are focusing a lot on that because they believe in the mothers who's using the product through the influencer marketing. So most of our focus has been on that currently, because we feel that that's the right approach, because we have narrowed down onto our customer segment, because already the moms are there as followers for the mothers who are there as influencers, and that's helping us build our whole sales.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, since a lot of management students are there, can you just throw some lights on, I mean, few insights on NID? Because not many will be aware about NID who are in this group.
Okay. So actually, National Institute of Design was started during Nehru's time, where Sarabhai, Vikram Sarabhai, that time, design was not there in India. So they called Charles Ames, who was one of the top designers in the world at that time, to come down to India and develop a design college in Ahmedabad, which will bring Indian designers, basically, who will design for India as a country. Because at that time, if you see Chandigarh, like you had Lee Corbusier, a foreigner coming, but there was no Indian design philosophy. So then when Charles Ames came in, he actually said lota, that we tell no, our pot is the actually the real product of India, right? It is very unique. Everybody, you go anywhere in India, everybody has a pot, plastic pot, brass. So that is the uniqueness, and we have this beautiful aesthetic sense as a country, and we should have a design college built around that philosophy. So that's how NID got established. And if you see, the government sent a lot of people from India abroad to Sweden. They were sent to Switzerland. They were sent to all these core design countries, and then they came back understanding design philosophy, design teaching methods. And like Bauhaus is in Germany is the core organization for design in the world. So they all studied and came back here, and they become faculty to start NID. So NID has like 15 to 18 disciplines in design. That is we always think design means fashion design or communication design. Design is not that. Design, you have ceramic and glass design. So the people studying that will do sanitary ware and all that. You have accessory designer who does bags, lifestyle accessory, bags, all that. They are trained for that. You have textile designers, not textile engineering, textile designers. So they do motifs. So they learn how to develop inspiration from nature. They understand weaves. They move on to working with automobile company to do the interiors of the car. No, if you see the car interiors also having a fabric. So that is textile design. You have furniture and interior design. You have toy and game. You have UI. Now this is a big area, UX, UI, right? User experience design. So like that, they started with so many disciplines. And the beauty about the place is that when you go to a place like that, you end up interacting with so many creative minds, and you learn between disciplines. So they have a huge workshop, metal, wood, and everything, and you learn. And it's very, very tough to get it. I mean, at least in my time, PG, post graduation and UG is there. It has a 4-year course and a post graduation. Toy design, they had only 10 seats, and they didn't find the student competent enough. They filled only 6 seats. 6 of us studied from the first batch. 4 seats, they left it empty, saying we didn't find the right candidate, because there are psychologists, psychiatrists who are there in the panel, who see the maturity level of the individual and select. And then we study basically user understands a child's, like when I studied product industrial design thing, I learned about material, psychology, everything we learn, character development, all that, game theory and all that, and then we become a designer. And many of my counterparts, my batchmates, are all now running big heads of big organization across the globe. So that, and we are like a fraternity, very interconnected. So that's NID. And like when I studied, I think I was the only Tamilian from South, if you see. So that's the kind of tough competitive it is to get in there.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. It was because since many students know, they may not be aware about
Right.
NID.
You can
That's
go
the reason
check out their website now that government has even started 3 more, because NID is so crucial. They have started 3 more centers. One in they have started in Guwahati. They have started like that, Vijayawada, Kurukshetra. So 3, 4 they have started. So that design is a very important field. That's it.
Yes. But generally, after this, in this online era with this animation films and etc., how is the comic market, ma'am, among the children?
Comic is a huge segment, like Comic Con, which is happening. You have like people have become so now, and more than children, adults have become comic craze. So you have graphic novels, right? People love manga comics, which is like Korean and Japanese comic art. So there's a huge demand for graphic novel and comics action, and it's like a stress buster, no? Like in our age, we used to read Tickle and all that, but today's generation is reading more visually interesting illustrated graphic novels.
Okay, because this online era, I was just under the out of
Huge
interest.
market. You just go check Comic Con, Bangalore, Bombay. It's an event which happens every year, and you see the craze of people going there dressed up like the character. There's this huge fraternity which is into comics and animation. And
Okay. Ma'am, recently I came across in LinkedIn regarding stick image from one of the artists from UK. She's been developing, I hope you must have come across this comic name Tap. I think its name is Tap, and she's from UK, and she's been doing the stick images. So, is there any connection of design, madam, when it comes to the stick images and comics?
yeah, it is like any, you take comic or stick images or anything, in the end it is about character development, storyline, everything is, I can say that you take anything around you, from a sellotape to going to the washroom and using your brush to a clock to everything, there is a designer there. You name it, a bean bag which you sit on, there's a designer there. So I think even medical equipments, there is a designer there. So you just look at any product, the designer is there. It's only that the designer's name is not there because it's the brand name, but there's a complete design team. That's philosophy is very crucial, I think. For if you, there was a research done where I think there were some 8, 9, 10 companies in the world who use design as a design. They give the core, like Titan, Tanish, Tata Group has a core. Tata Elxsi is the design studio. In globally, if you take Airbnb is very looking at design because their user experience, they don't see. If you take Uber is looking at design, and the irony is none of them, Airbnb or Uber, doesn't even own the cars, or they don't own hotels, right? It is the design service, how beautifully it's been designed, that it is helping them build their whole business. So that's how design can help. So we do training programs on design thinking for management students, and for them, like I just finished 2 training program in PSG for management BBA students, telling them the importance of design thinking when they do, which is a very important tool, and they need to think in that way. Then only you can stand out.
Yeah, absolutely, ma'am. As you said, I also have recently seen in LinkedIn your program, what you did in PSG Tech. I think Professor Vijay Lakshmi
Yeah,
hosting
that
that.
was in PSG. I did it in tech. Then I did in PSG CAS also. Just
Okay,
last weekend I did. Yeah.
okay. Participants, you have any questions, please unmute yourself and ask. Also, you can put it in chat. I'll be able to take it forward. Ma'am, having spent so long in this segment design, see, I'm from design only, DJ design only. I handle the admissions part, everything. But what do you think, ma'am? Still, not many parents are actually, or many kids are not actually opting design as a future. Is it because of lack
Awareness is
of
not there.
awareness?
Yeah, the
Awareness, yeah.
awareness in South India is not there. I
Not
mean,
there.
in
Yeah.
South India, we are so much into engineering, medicine.
Yes.
And the irony is that in the Ola Uber driver is an engineer. Who asks, what is your education? He says, I'm an engineer. I mean, nobody is going beyond that. The same thing, if I take a person in North, just like you prepare for IIT from your 6th standard, 7th standard, you have students in the North preparing for studying design from 6th standard, 7th standard. They're going and learning drawing, they're building their portfolio. So that awareness, sadly, in South India is not there, because unfortunately we are, still thinking of the same old professions. So, like if you see data analytics, user experience design, and UI design, and all, it's like a huge potential. Like my students and all, their starting salary is like 60,000, 70,000 starting salary after graduating, joining companies. And then within 1 year, they jump, they are already earning 1 lakh, 1.5 lakhs. So that's the kind of demand. So you should start going beyond your usual. And now when I say toy and game design, everybody look at me, wow, what is this? If I say I'm engineer, nobody's going to look at me, right? So I think somewhere we need to come out of that and do something so that you become a niche in what you.
Yeah, I strongly agree with you, ma'am. Because the reason I just wanted to reconfirm, because I travel across Tamil Nadu, Kerala, visiting schools, and we do conduct a lot of workshops. As you rightly mentioned, that one challenge what I see is the awareness.
Yeah.
Everyone come out with that lot of enthusiasm, and finally they're not actually very clear why they have come, why they have
I think
attended.
somewhere you need to tell the story. I think the storytelling
Story
is the crucial. If you
crucial.
start talking your presentation that, this is a salary of engineer, a management person, and a designer, and this is, then you backstory it. In the end, what do the parents want? That my child, how much will he earn? And you talk about entrepreneurship. Like many of my students have gone on to becoming, starting their own business. I have one student who has started her baking business after studying design, and she is doing very designer cakes. So like she makes a cake based on, if it's a tabla player, she makes a cake like a tabla player. She's using product design, structure, and form, and she's also been awarded the second best baker in India. So I mean, that's the beauty about design. You can become an entrepreneur, start startups. One student has, what she has done is she has taken, she found these plastics and she has shredded it, and she's created a new material, and she's making bags and accessories with that material, which is completely, all the material she's using is. So that's the beauty, I mean, about if you study design and things. I think it's somewhere the stories have to come in, and then I think parents will realize, that.
Yes, yes. Because during my pharmaceutical sales days, many times company will try to do restructuring of the packing, redesigning of the packing. That time, no, as sales guys, we used to curse the company why they are doing all these things. But when we ask them, they say we save a lot of money in terms of logistics. So after coming to design only, I could understand those days perspective, how design can actually make life simpler and also make company earn more profit. So
Because when I was in DJD, what you did, I did. I went
uh,
around India
yeah,
giving talks to different cities and made them realize why designer is important in the society.
yes,
I put that question in them: what will happen when designer is not
absolutely.
there? Suddenly, you don't have a designer. Imagine what will happen to your footwear, what will happen to your clothes,
Correct.
what will happen to your automobile, everything, everywhere. There is.
Correct.
Then they realize that, oh, okay, this is what they do, because they have this confusion. Also, you need to bring this. Make them understand difference between an engineer and a designer. A design engineer is not a designer, right? So you need to make them understand that. They think that design is also engineering.
Yes, I always bring the examples of fountain pen and ball pens. I always bring examples of grinders, how grinders have become today that easy to keep on a dining table. The Kinder
Right.
Joy chocolate and the science behind it.
Yeah, I
As you
think
said,
those
it's
stories will help.
help.
But I
Yes,
think it's much better than what it was when I studied,
yes,
right? I mean, nobody in South India when I went ever knew about it, but my parents are supportive. I went. So I think somewhere that things are changing. They are becoming more parents. I think with Shark Tank and all this, their
yes, yes.
parents' whole thinking is changing. So I think it should be positive.
Positive. Yes, nice, ma'am. Uh, Participants, any questions you can ask or you can chat. We'll be closing in a minute. I think, as usual, students, ma'am, they're only in the listening mode. This only happens every week. Anyway, ma'am, there are no more questions. Shall we wrap it up, ma'am?
Yeah, yeah, fine with
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Yeah. On behalf of Coimbatore Management Association, I thank you, ma'am, for sparing your valuable time today with us, giving a lot of insights. The session has really given a lot of insights with such a simple and wonderful presentation. Thank you for that. Also, I would like to thank all the student chapter students as well as all other participants who have taken the time out to attend today's session. And last but not the least, I would like to thank our president and secretary who keeps organizing these programs or week on week, and also the Monday Musings team to coordinate and get this program rolling out every week. So thank you all once again. Good night to all. Meet you all once again next week in Monday Musings.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the
Thank,
opportunity. Bye.
thank you. Bye, madam. Thank you.